Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfalla.
And Ray Alfalla is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the Vrs Telemetry Logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Hello race fans, Peter Mackay here, welcoming you to the Apex Racing Academy GT4 VRS Super Series, live from Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Joining me in the commentary box this evening is Dane Baird, and in production is Samuel Kumo, bringing you all these wonderful graphics and images of this wonderful facility here in Braselton, Georgia. Dane, you have been a busy boy behind the mic the last few days. How are you feeling heading into this GT4 showdown today?
Well, yeah, it's been a very busy few days for me. I've had about 5 broadcasts in the last 4 days, but it's good to be back with you after Saturday. We had a couple broadcasts together. It's also good to be back where we first met, of course, at Road Atlanta with the same GT4 cars back from the iRacing Israel League all those months ago. But it's good to be joining you for this one.
And in a simpler time. Yes. So here we are then for what is, we're heading towards the business end of what has been a very tightly contested season here in the ARA GT4 series, thanks to our sponsors, Virtual Racing School. And, well, it's the story of the 2 classes. We have the Pro class, which is signified on our SDK timing screen. You'll see beside the left hand, to the left of the driver's name, you'll see that little green icon. That's signifying a Pro class driver, and the red for AM class. And really, it is a 2-horse race in both classes. We have Joel Evans, who is, as you can see here, Patrick Sokolowski is leading by 12 points for the championship lead. However, our drivers have 1 drop score, so basically one of the rounds where they scored the least amount of points, that is taken off of their total. So with that taken into account, things are much, much closer. In that case, Joel Evans is on 424 points and Sokolowski on 422. So really, that's been the story of the whole championship. It's been Sokolowski versus Evans all the way, and it's going to really come to a head here at Road Atlanta today, I am sure. Same story in the AM class. We have Mihail Velikov leading Pontus Overstrom from 356 points to 321. But again, with the drop scores taken into account, which well, we all remember Pontus Overström's disastrous day at Oran Park a couple of weeks ago, and that, of course, gets basically written off. So at the moment, the AM Class Championship, Mihail Velikov with the drop score, 297 points, and Overström on 294. So, Dane, although we've got a small grid tonight, about 13 cars, it's all about, we're just kind of have our eyes on these championship battles for the Pro and the AM classes.
Absolutely. Still 2 rounds to go, of course. Everything is still to play for in terms of the championships. And they do have some good prizes up for grabs as well. Some Apex Racing Academy and VRS subscriptions up for grabs. So it's definitely still to play for, as qualifying is around about halfway through. The drivers get 4 laps of qualifying in this series of lone qualifying. Everyone's on the track on their own. They don't have to worry about other drivers getting in their way. But it looks like Evans has just tipped Sokolovsky to pole position provisionally.
Provisionally, as it stands, yes. So we're looking at Patrick Sokolowski on screen. He's at the wheel of his Porsche Cayman GT4. Most of the front runners in the championship opting for the Porsche over the BMW M4, which has been campaigned by Matthias Beer throughout the championship. But for all of the Porsche drivers and all the BMWs, they are all running an identical setup. So the Apex Racing Academy coaches give drivers a little bit of help throughout the week and also provide them with a pro setup for the car. Now, it's unbelievable, of course, on this iRacing.com service, all of the cars are laser scanned to the finest detail and have all of the adjustments that they would have in the real world. And having the right setup then is absolutely vital to getting the pace out of them. But also, Dane, it means that we've not got to consider that one driver's got a particularly trick setup. It's all down to their skill behind the wheel.
Yeah, absolutely. The setups have been done by Johan Haas, who has just secured his seat in the 2021 Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup after finishing in the top 20 for the 2020 season. Then Reynaldo Lorena, also another one of the Apex Racing Team Pro drivers. So very competent drivers behind the wheel, making the setups for these drivers, as it looks like Evans has dropped down the table a little bit.
He has indeed. He has been eclipsed by Patrick Sokolowski and Thomas Wangen. Now, Thomas Wangen has been very quick in qualifying at the wheel of his Team Vikings Porsche Cayman, but really not quite been able to execute in the races. However, he did set that right last time out at Daytona with a podium in the feature race. So if you're new to the series here, the Apex Racing Academy GT4 series on the iRacing Esports Network, first of all, welcome. Glad to have your company. Tonight we have 2 races. We have a 20-minute sprint race and then a 40-minute feature race with a compulsory pit stop. And the top 9, from the sprint race is inverted. So if you finish 9th in the sprint, you will start from pole position for the feature race. So we need to watch out for that throughout the day. As you can see, well, it's a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4. So for any Weissach fans out there, that is good news so far, with Matthias Beer, the German Austin Powers, as we call him, the top BMW in 5th spot. If you're wondering why we call him the German Austin Powers, wait till you see the car, and particularly the paint scheme on his BMW M4. It's certainly very commentator friendly, isn't it, Dane?
Yeah, absolutely. We can see him from a mile away, which is always helpful when you're sitting up in the commentary booth. He's currently the top BMW in qualifying with a minute left. Most of the drivers have retired back to the pit lane. You can see that because their name is a little bit grayed out on the timing tower. Only 2 drivers still out on track. This man, Greg Hubler, currently sitting in 12th in the American. And we've also got Christensen up in 4th. Still to complete their 4 laps. But there's only 30 seconds left of qualifying, Peter.
Yep, we're nearly ready to go as Greg Hubler comes into pit lane. Quite a short lap here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta, as we get Roger Christensen over the line, and he pushes Joel Evans back to 4th spot. That is interesting indeed. Also, look at Mikhail Velikov, 3 points ahead in the championship in the AM class, and his rival, Pontus Overström, he's on the AM class pole in 6th spot. So, first blood of the day to Pontus Overström in the AM class and to Patrick Sokolowski in the Pro class as far as the championship honours are concerned. So let's take a little look at our grid to see how they line up for this opening contest here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. On pole position is Patrick Sokolowski, putting it on pole position by over 0.3 of a second from the Team Viking star Thomas Wangen. On row 2 is Wangen's teammate Roger Christensen alongside the championship contender Joel Evans. On the third row is Matthias Beer in the leading BMW alongside Pontus Overström, the fastest of the AM class contenders. On row 4 is Marco Tolman and Mike Pollard. Row 5, Jeff Miner and Will Newell. Row 6, Chris Rear and Greg Hubler. And amazingly, all the way back in 13th spot is Mikhail Velikov alongside newcomer last time out, Harry Brooks. Now, Dane, this is, I wonder what's going on there with Mikhail Velikov, because this is not what we're used to seeing from him.
No, it's not. We're used to seeing him up at the top of the AM standings in this series at least. And it is pretty interesting to see him all the way back down there. Maybe it's just not his circuit that happens to the best of us. I personally love this circuit. It's one of my favorite to drive. Just had Petit Le Mans a couple of weeks ago. 10-hour endurance race that was a lot of fun. But yeah, there he is down in 13th. We're definitely not used to seeing him down there.
No, definitely not. But the one thing we're also used to seeing with Mikhail is he doesn't shy away of getting his elbows out. That's for sure. So we'll watch him he's a racer. Watch him come through the pack as the race progresses. So the field are all lined up behind the Porsche 911 pace car, just waiting to take a full pace lap here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. So plentiful opportunities for the drivers to get heat into the tyres and the brakes. So they should be raring to go by the time they flow through turn 12 and taking the green flag. As you can see, have you spotted Matthias Beer's car? There it is, sitting in 5th on the grid. It is very groovy indeed, and we cannot miss it, that 122 car. Watch out for him. Now, of course, Dane, these two cars, they're quite different in their attributes, aren't they? Because the BMW, the front-engined, twin-turbocharged 6-cylinder motor, it's a bit of a dragster, but the Porsche, naturally aspirated, mid-mounted flat 6 engine, it's got a little bit better through the corners, a little bit more manoeuvrable. So it's going to be, of course, here at Road Atlanta, you've got very much a circuit of two halves. You have this very twisty opening section through the S's, and then you've got the big drag race all the way down to turn 10A and 10B. So I think it's going to yo-yo back and forward between the Porsches and the BMWs.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Academy coaches from Apex Racing Academy decided that there was no need for a balance of performance, added ballast weight to any of the classes. We've seen that many of the different manufacturers of the GT4 cars here on iRacing. A couple of weeks they decided that it was time for the BMW to get a bit of extra weight to slow it down a bit. And more often we've seen the Porsche have some ballast added. But this week they decided that there wasn't any necessary, because the track is, as you said, split pretty much into two very different halves, and each of the cars excels at a different half, and they end up having pretty much the same lap time around here at Road Atlanta. But it is going to be interesting, because the main overtaking opportunity, we are now approaching down the very long back straight in towards turn 10 A and B.
Yep, this is, can you imagine that in pre-1997, that chicane wasn't there. It was just flat out all the way through. That is a terrifying thought. Of course, the chicane here, turn 10A and B, was installed a year after Dr. Don Penoz took ownership of this circuit. And Dr. Penoz who sadly passed away a couple of years ago, had a huge impact on this wonderful circuit with a lot of investment indeed. So we're riding on board with Patrick Sokolowski, my apologies, alongside Thomas Wangen. He winds it up and we're off. Here at Road Atlanta, Patrick Sokolowski goes nice and early, asserts his position on the racing line, and we're green here at Road Atlanta. But look at Wangen all over the back of his gearbox. Joel Evans immediately hops through to third place. Wangen takes a big look up the inside of Sokolowski. They go through cleanly, got to watch for that curb on the inside, but Sokolowski defends as they head up towards turn 3.
And it's a good start from Evans up to P3. That's really what he needed. He wanted to be right on the back of the 2 drivers ahead of him. The 3 drivers that we saw battling for most of the round last week at Daytona. It's going to be good to see them hopefully battling again. Evans looks to the inside into turn, I believe, turn 5. That's not really an overtaking opportunity ever. He did have a little bit of a look, and here comes Matthias Beer up the inside. The extra power, extra straight line speed given by the BMW really helping him out, and I think he's just going to pull away from Christensen down the back straight. He hasn't got the best exit though. Christensen is going to come back.
Yeah, the only problem about going up the inside there at turn 7 is like you say, you really compromise the exit. So Matthias Beer is by though, but look at that. Christensen is just not able to draft, and that BMW has caught the grunt. Down they go then into turn 10A for the first time. And look at Wangen. Wangen having a look at Sokolowski on the brakes. Doesn't get it done, but and he's a little bit of bump drafting there underneath the Suzuki bridge. Oh my word.
Pushing him along as they come down to start lap number 2. But it's, yeah, this is very interesting stuff. He was very close there. Could have maybe had a bit of a look down the inside, but that's not really where you want to be going. Very sideways was Wangen. Out of turn number 1, up the hill towards turn number 3, and then downhill through the S's they will come.
Yeah, spot the Scandinavian getting it all loose and oversteer. Fantastic stuff. Oh, Evans taking a lot of curb there and running it out right onto the paint, onto the power, right on the gearbox of Thomas Wangen. Now, this is going to be really fascinating to see. Will Joel Evans try and get past Thomas Wangen here? Will Sokolowski be able to escape? A lot of questions to be answered over the next 25 minutes of action. But where is Matthias Beer? He is up into 4th place in the BMW, but there's a bit of a gap in the track. Can he bridge the gap? He's right in the middle. Now, as you can see, he's starting to escape from Christensen and starting to haul in Joel Evans. So we'll keep a close eye on that battle, because Beer's BMW has got the grunters. Here he goes. Nice and clean.
Has he overshot? No, he hasn't. He's managed to hold on, but Wangen gets the cut back done. He's up the inside to come under the Suzuki bridge. He's got his nose ahead. Coming to the very fast, flat out right hander, running a little bit onto the grass as Wangen. He's got the move back up into P2 then. Meanwhile, Sokolowski's checked out a little bit.
He has. Look at the lap time. Patrick Sokolowski, a 1:26.5 last time around. Wangen a whole second slower, and Evans stuck behind him. And I tell you what, that was a wonderfully executed move from Evans, but Wangen just had the measure of him and just cut straight back beautifully and took that critical inside line, and Evans had to back out of it. There was no other option. So really, really interesting stuff. Now look at this. Pontus Overström, he's in 6th overall and by far the fastest in the AND class. His championship protagonist, his championship rival Velikov, back in 12th. So not, I think you've hit the nail on the head earlier, Dane. Just obviously not a circuit he gels with.
Yeah, definitely. It does happen to everyone. There are some circuits that just do not go well with you. For me, it's probably got to be COTA, Circuit of the Americas. Definitely not my favorite circuit. I don't think I've ever done well there.
Yeah, I don't know what my there are some that I really enjoy driving on, but I'm quite slow on Silverstone, probably one of them actually. I quite enjoy driving on Silverstone, but I'm incredibly slow there for some reason. Don't know why, but well, actually, it's probably quite obvious why. But anyway, but I do like here at Road Atlanta. It's really nice flow. It's very tricky, very, very tricky. There's a lot of pitfalls, particularly coming up to this section here. Turn 1 is very satisfying corner. Then all of a sudden, you're just climbing up a cliff here. You look at that skyline. That's what the driver sees. And then you just have to sort of guess your entry point here into turn 3 and 4, and then sort of flow down the S's and keep the car under control. But Pontus Overström, well, he's handling it beautifully, and Wangen's off. Wangen is in the wall. Oh my word, what has happened there? Thomas Wangen has made a mistake. That looks like coming out of turn 5. He's miles off the track. He's made a big error there. Yes, it is turn 5. So let's see if we can get a replay then. Here we go. What do you see here, Dane?
I reckon he's just hit a curb too hard and lost it. Coming in towards the braking zone. Oh, there he's up on the grass. Oh, and this re-entry onto the tarmac just sent him into a spin, trying to go to the old short layout that is very rarely used here on iRacing, but it can be driven. You shouldn't really drive it when you're trying to drive the full course though.
Ah, well, did you notice there the PDK gear lever just moved forward to stick it into reverse there? I like that. Good detail there from the iRacing simulator. Of course, if you've ever sat in or driven a Porsche road car, you'll recognise that gear selector. But that's because the PDK gearbox in the Cayman GT4 is exactly the same as what you would get in the Porsche street car. Likewise, the DCT gearbox in the BMW M4. So that promotes Pontus Overström up to 5th position. So one Scandinavian to another, Norwegian in the wall, Swede up to 5th spot. What that does is that promotes Matthias Beer up to 3rd place. But for Patrick Sokolowski, that's not really what he wanted to see, because Thomas Wangen was making an excellent roadblock to keep Evans behind, but now Evans has got that clear room and can now set off in hot pursuit of Sokolowski.
Interestingly, the fastest lap of the race has been set by Matthias Beer, a 1:26.0, and he is a man on a mission in his BMW. He seems to have really gelled with the circuit, unlike Velikov, and he is flying in his BMW.
He definitely is, yeah. I think that the BMW with that front engine layout, it's not going to be quite as unpredictable on the limit, and I think when you're hopping over the curbs here at Road Atlanta, it's kind of like a pogo stick effect through some of them, and I think maybe the BMW perhaps rides the bumps a little bit better, possibly. And then, of course, when you get onto that back straight, you can really open up the grunt of the Munich missile, and oh god, he's trying hard, isn't he? Wow, amazing stuff there. And he's quicker again, 1:26.2, 0.3 of a second quicker than Evans and Sokolowski. So, and he's getting close to draft range now with Joel Evans. But yeah, Matthias Beer, he's on a move in that in the Austin Powers mobile.
Absolutely, we know he's very on it in these cars. He obviously got a win last season, obviously the first season. We're now in season 2 of this series, but he is a race winner, and he is very much closing on Evans. The gap now 0.6 between them. 2 seconds up the road is the race leader, Patrick Sokolowski. But coming down the straight now with a little bit of help from the draft. The Cayman doesn't give off much draft at all. It really is a pretty small car. It doesn't punch a very big hole in the air. But let's have a look at the relative in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. It is definitely coming down.
Yeah, opening up all that horsepower, and of course as the higher speed you get, the more the difference becomes. Up into 6th gear briefly, back down the gears to 3rd. Using that, it's got good torque, this BMW. Of course, twin turbocharged, so it's got a lot of grunt coming out the corners, unlike the Porsche where you've got to kind of keep it singing. Naturally aspirated 4-litre motor in that car, 425 horsepower. BMW does have more outright horsepower as well, but certainly not as aerodynamically efficient as the little Porsche. So 9 minutes down, and well, quite a different set of circumstances today. This is the best round we've seen from Matthias Beer so far, and he's really gelling with that BMW in this Road Atlanta circuit.
Absolutely, he's doing a splendid job in the number 122 car. Looking at Joel Evans though, it looks like he's just had his personal best fastest lap of the race so far on lap number 6 last time by. And he seems to be closing the gap to Patrick Sokolowski, his championship title rival, who is just ahead of him.
Yep, he is, and he needs to. You can't let Sokolowski get the edge. Every single point matters at this point in the season. And will Matthias Beer be the the fly in the ointment here for Evans and for Sokolowski? I mean, I guess for Sokolowski, he probably wants Matthias Beer to get involved with Joel Evans here and try and slow him up a little bit, but that's a lot easier said than done. And Joel Evans, now that he's got a bit of clean air, he looks to be getting into a good rhythm. But the point is great to see an inter-manufacturer battle now between Porsche and BMW, as Thomas Wangen is on a recovery drive going past Mihail Velikov there. But Porsche, of course, have the most manufacturer wins here at the Road Atlanta Petite Le Mans race, which is the flagship event here at the circuit in Braselton, Georgia. And in fact, the Petite Le Mans is on Saturday, and I'm very much looking forward to the 10-hour endurance race epic. But Porsche, 24 manufacturer class wins. BMW only have 3, but maybe they might be able to set that right today here at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, well, if anyone's going to do it for them, you see Marco Tolman just going a little bit wide there on through the S's. He's running fairly high up the order as well, currently sitting second in class, third of the BMW drivers. Once again, a reminder on the left-hand side of the drivers' names, a little splash of colour there. Green represents pro drivers, and the 5 drivers with red next to their name are AM drivers. But Tolman doing pretty well in his class, currently sitting in second. He's got Offerstrom around about 4 seconds up the road, but he's got to watch out because Minor is just 2 seconds behind. You can see him just coming over the crest in the background of the shot.
What you can also see as well, if you look at the top right-hand side of your screen, you'll see the track map, which has the outline of Road Atlanta, and you can see where each driver is. So the green, last night on the Ricmatech Sports Car Series, we referred to them as M&Ms. So the green M&Ms, those are the pro class drivers, and the red M&Ms are the AM class drivers as well. Now, what you see here on screen, dear viewer, is what is referred to as our SDK gaming software. So all of the overlays with the driver times and the battle box on the right hand side and the track map is available through SDK Gaming. So you search SDK Gaming on your favorite search engine and check it out, because it can give you a real competitive advantage, particularly in longer endurance races with fuel calculations and trying to find yourself a little bit of clean air out on track. So it can give you a little bit of the edge when you're out there on iRacing. Dane, do you run with the SDK software when you're putting people on the roofs in the Porsche Sport Carrera Cup?
Oh yeah, I do, and it definitely helps, especially when you're going for things such as most positions gained in a race, which is normally what I'm going for. I don't normally have a good time in qualifying, but if you're trying to see how many positions you've gained, that is one of the many things that the SDK Gaming overlay can show you, as well as the beautiful timing tower. We've also got a fuel calculator in the SDK Gaming software, which is very helpful.
It is. I tell you what, when in my days as a white van man and a sales rep, I would have loved an SDK Gaming fuel calculator to see if I was going to make it home without stopping for fuel. But yes, actually we did. One of an Apex Racing Team driver who will remain nameless gave us access for one of the broadcasts, as long as we kept it a secret of what it was. But it was so helpful for us to know who was going to pit when. And I tell you what, Dana, I've never sounded so clever on air going, I think enter driver's name here is going to pit on this lap. And then they would come, and that's because you didn't pit, it would have run out of fuel. So yeah, it's a very sophisticated piece of software, and it's available on a monthly subscription. So do check it out. As Thomas Wangen, he's on a bit of a move here. Yes, full send indeed. And I have to say, I love Thomas Wangen's helmet. It is in an Angry Birds design. I love that.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for pointing that out, Peter. That's very good. Indeed. Joel Evans is definitely catching Sokolovsky now. The gap is 8 tenths, and it is definitely decreasing between the two drivers. Closer than ever throughout the races. Evans actually just makes a mistake, costing him a good 4 tenths of a second as I say that. But a bit of a minor case of the commentator's curse there.
A minor one, yes, a minor one indeed. But yes, this is, what have we got, about 10 minutes left in this race. And I just wonder, Evans has just got the bit between his teeth here. But getting past Patrick Sokolowski will be a completely different matter than just, oh, goodness me, I tell you what. That Patrick Sokolowski took a lot of inside curb there, and that really, if you saw the car just bouncing and hopping over the curb, it really did not like it there.
Yeah, definitely not. That has allowed Evans to catch up a little bit as well. He's now back down under 8 tenths of a second, the Welshman. And it's now 7.5 tenths, and he's going to carry on gaining down the back straight with all the very small amount of draft that he can find. Now down to under 7 tenths of a second, and he closes in massively into the chicane, but he doesn't get a good exit. You can see the gap starting to rise again. I think Joel just goes a little bit deep into the chicane maybe and doesn't focus on the exit as much.
Yeah, it's such a tricky corner, that 10A and 10B, and you're right. If you can sacrifice a little bit of speed on the entry, you can really get on the gas a bit earlier on the exit. But of course, being disciplined with yourself to do that is quite difficult, because you always want to go, oh, I'm going to brake really, really late in here, and then always end up overdriving. That's certainly what I do anyway. But look at this. This is what a difference in time. It would be great to see the lap time comparison. I think about 6 or 7 tenths of a second just on that last lap there between Sokolowski and Evans. Evans now taking a lot of inside curb there as well, but he's right on the case of Sokolowski. Sokolowski will see him large in the mirror. He also will have been seeing the times coming down as well, so that's bound to play a factor. And oh my goodness me, Evans is right on the case now. He's right in behind, so any draft benefit there is, he will get it. But will he be close enough to make a move into turn 10A?
We'll have to wait and see. It's a very long back straight here. They're about halfway through it now. They're going to head to the left of our screen, but to the right from the cockpit. And he goes for the defensive line. Evans pulls alongside, round the outside. He just cuts back in. He is going to be able to maybe get a bit of a cutback though. It's not as effective as it might have been. He hit a big old bump on the inside there, which unsettled the car a little bit. But they're going to come to start lap number 13 now. Oh, and look at the run.
Oh, this would be a big... You'll notice that Sokolowski covers him off. You can do that, but oh, it's going to slow his exit down. But Sokolowski, very, very clever on defense there. Just knows exactly where he's got to park the car. But Evans is absolutely on a tear here. Oh, Sokolowski taking a lot of inside curb there again. I wonder if he'll be right on the cusp of a track limit slowdown penalty there, but doesn't appear to be serving one. So obviously got away with that. Back on the go. Look at that amount of like touring cars going over the curbs there. Wow, but look, you got to think Evans is close enough to make this move stick coming down into turn 10A and B, but all comes down to this corner here, this very tight right-hander, turn 7. It just tightens on the apex, and then get on the power early with a minimal amount of wheel spin, and Evans is right on him.
Yeah, I think this is the closest that they've been the entire race since the start, pretty much. As there is Matthias Beer all the way in the background. He's not going to be gaining too much, but let's see. Sokolowski once again on defensive. Evans is closer this time by. Decides to just stick behind once again into the chicane. There are just over 6 minutes left of the race, which by my very poor estimate is going to be 3-4 laps to go.
Yep, indeed. And well, I'll tell you what, we saw this last week at Daytona. Patrick Sokolowski is so good on the defense. So although Joel Evans is lapping quicker, he is, well, there's nothing he can do because Sokolowski is just placing his car exactly where it needs to be. So anytime that Joel Evans wants to get by, there's a big black Porsche right in the way. So interesting there, going down into turn 10A. It looked like Sokolowski just had the edge on the brakes there, Dane.
Yeah, a little bit, but look how close Evans is now. Less than 2/10 separating them as they come down towards turns 6 and 7. Oh, Evans is a little bit loose on the mid corner there. He lost a bit of time, and he hasn't got the best exit out of 7 either. He's not going to be close enough this time wide to make a move either. But I think the drivers are going to have enough time for 4 laps after this one. I think my calculation was slightly wrong. I think they're going to have enough time for 4 more laps, so there's still plenty of opportunities for Evans to catch up. Oh, big mistake.
Tell you what, I think Sokolowski is biting off as much as he possibly can on the brakes and nearly ran wide and gave Joel Evans the opportunity to go by. But Sokolowski recovered, and it's got to think that maybe Joel Evans has just got to take a deep breath now. 4 laps to go. He's clearly got pace underneath that car. He's just got to pick his moment carefully. And it might be that I wonder, is there any other spots on the circuit, do you think, Dane, where he might be able to spring a surprise move?
Possibly into turn 1 if he can get a good enough run out of the final corner. We saw it almost happen a couple of laps ago, but it's a pretty tricky circuit to overtake at through most of it here at Road Atlanta. Possibly into turn 6 as well if he can get a good enough exit, good enough run out of the S's. But I think for the most part, the best opportunity he is going to get is out of this corner, turn number 7, and down the long back straight. And look how close they are coming out of there.
Oh yeah, Evans was right on his case now. This could be it. Sokolowski immediately covers the inside line to make sure that Evans can't slip by on the straight, but there is absolutely nothing to separate them. Here goes Evans. Sokolowski does. Oh, just covers off in time. Moves over again. Oh no! Oh, they're both on the wall! They're both on the wall! Sokolowski moves across on Evans. Under braking, that is bound to be looked at by the stewards later on. But Matthias Beer, where's Matthias Beer? He's about 6 seconds further back. But both Sokolowski and Evans in the wall. How much damage do they have? Quite a bit. And that was a stone wall. That was not a tire wall.
I think Sokolowski is going to come off quite a bit worse because he was the one on the outside of the incident, I would say. And he turned across Evans there. Just turned across the bumper and took them both into the wall, but he had the bigger impact for sure. That has allowed Beer to catch up a little bit, but I don't think it's enough for him to be able to catch up. Here's a replay then, let's see what happened.
So Evans goes to look up the inside, then moves to the outside, but look at Sokolowski, just slices across him. And Evans holding his line, and really, I mean, to me, Dane, that just seemed like Sokolowski just chopped his nose off and nothing really Evans could have done.
Yeah, I think Evans was squeezing him to the outside. He said if you pick the outside or the inside lane, you're going to have it. Sokolowski didn't want it anymore and he tried to go back. I think it was definitely more on the side of the 190 cars. Probably you can see it's definitely more damage to that leading car than there is to Evans just behind him. But we are coming towards 2 laps to go here for race number 1. We still got a longer second race ahead of us. If the racing is anything like what we've seen, I'll be very pleased. And oh, very loose for Sokolowski. This could be it for Evans. Another defensive block from Patrick Sokolowski. More contact was made. Evans is stuck behind in second, but looks like he has definitely got the pace now to make a move.
Watch for Matthias Beer is carving time out of these guys right now. I think Matthias Beer could blow past them both on the straight because look, there he is. The German Austin Powers is lingering in the Munich missile, the BMW M4. And well, I think these guys are, if these guys don't take each other off, I'll be surprised because it's getting nasty now. This is like This reminds me of John Cleland and Steve Soper in the 1992 British Touring Car Championship, or Matt Neal and Jason Plato for a more contemporary example. But, well, let's see what the speed is like. We know that BMW has a speed advantage anyway, but with these two cars, well, past their best, let's see. Yeah, look at the SDK graphic on the left-hand side of your screen. Matthias Beer's car is pulling huge chunks of time out of Evans and Sokolowski. The question is can they hang on for one more lap? Here goes Evans, a big lunge. Will Sokolowski let him have it? No, it's more contact, and Evans is by, but Sokolowski is, yep, here goes Beer.
1 lap to go then. White flag as they come out of the final corner to start lap number 19. Or lap 18, I should say. Joel Evans currently leading, but he has got the faster driver of Matthias Beer in his not damaged BMW. This is going to be very interesting down that back straight for the final time. I'm very sure of that.
I can't help but think then that we have just seen Pontus Overström's off. Well, I was about to say I think we've just seen a monumental moment in the a pivotal moment in the Pro Class Championship. Well, Overström going off the circuit is one, but he's still held on to the AM Class lead, so he had plenty of time in hand. And then Velikov still back in 11th. Well, here we're going to see, does Matthias Beer have the pace to blow by Joel Evans on this long back straight here at Road Atlanta? Joel Evans has got his teammate in front. That is Hubler in the Porsche. And, well, has Matthias Beer got the legs? I think Evans might just hang on to this one. We'll see. Is Matthias Beer going to have a look? No, he's not close enough. Looks like Evans is just about going to...
Oh, dear.
Oh, my word. That's a huge lunge there from Patrick Sokolowski. Oh, but it's going to be Joel Evans. Joel Evans is your winner in a controversial opening race here at Road Atlanta. An excellent second place from Matthias Beer. And Patrick Sokolowski in third. Well, that was not Patrick Sokolowski's finest hour, I have to say, Dane.
No, definitely not. Has to settle for third in the end. Almost lost out that position to Christensen. And here's Thomas Wangen after losing it all on his own from second position. He is now finished down in 10th. Which is very unfortunate for him. But, on the other hand, you could say he has now got pole position for the feature.
Indeed. Yes, that is the one advantage that he has. So, let's take a look at the results and how they finished. Joel Evans just hanging on, despite all of the calamity, hanging on for the win by half a second from Matthias Beer in the BMW. Patrick Sokolowski finishes third, but will he keep that position? We shall see. Roger Christensen was fourth, and Pontus Overström, despite that last lap off, still holds on to the AM Class win in fifth place. Mike Pollard was sixth, with Marco Tullman and Jeff Miner in seventh and eighth. Chris Rear was ninth, and Thomas Wangen in 10th after that early mistake. Mikhail Velikov, unusual to see him so far back in 11th. How could that be for the championship? Will Newell was 12th, Greg Hubler 13th, and Harry Brooks did not appear to take the start. Well, what a controversial start to proceedings here at Road Atlanta. We're going to take a very brief break for a message from our sponsor, Virtual Racing School. We'll be right back for the feature race. Don't go anywhere.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including four-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a four-time champion of the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze iRacing Series.
Three-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a three-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong,
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
and many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the VRS Telemetry Logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track, and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.
Welcome back to Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, where we have just been treated to an absolute classic here in the opening sprint race of the day. Our drivers are just having a quick warm-up session while we'll have a bit of a cool down, waiting for the feature race to begin. Now, a 40-minute feature race with a mandatory pit stop. But the pit window completely open. The drivers can come in and take their pit stop whenever they want because they can fill up with as much fuel as they need to make it to the end. So some drivers, particularly Patrick Sokolowski, has usually opted for running all the way as far as they can into the race and then just taking a little splash at the end, whereas some others may go off sequence and pit early in an attempt to get clear traffic. So Dane, it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out over the course of this feature race. And, well, that battle, I'm sure, is just going to resume between Joel Evans and Patrick Sokolowski.
Yeah, well, Patrick is going to be starting in 8th position after finishing 3rd in the sprint race. Joel Evans, after winning, is going to start in 10th, so he's going to be a couple positions behind. He's going to have to get past Matthias Beer first, who has proved himself to be very quick here at Road Atlanta. And yeah, that's going to be interesting because Evans is behind Sokolowski now, and he did have the pace even before the damage from the sprint race. So it is going to be interesting to see how those 3 guys with much more pace than the rest of the field.
So let's take a look at the how they line up then for this feature race. Thomas Wangen starts on pole position alongside Chris Rea. Jeff Miner and Marco Tolman start on the second row of the grid, with Mike Pollard and Pontus Overström in 5th and 6th. Row 4 will see Roger Christensen alongside Patrick Sokolowski. Row 5, Matthias Beer and Joel Evans, our race 1 winner. And finally, Mihail Velikov and Will Newell will roll off on the 6th row of the grid. And in 13th and 14th position, we should have 2 more. Yep, Greg Hubler and Harry Brooks as they head off behind the Porsche 911 pace car for the second time this evening. 40-minute race with a mandatory pit stop.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Evans, Beer and Sokolowski working their way through the field. It's going to be interesting. Also, the 3 AM drivers with Miner, Tolman and Overström all starting right with each other at the front of the field.
Yes, indeed. And, well, you've got to think that this is Thomas Wangen's race to lose. He's got a lot of pace there at the front of the field, and he's just got to get out into clean air and click off those laps and hopefully not make any mistakes. He's been prone to the occasional mistake, as Thomas Wangen, let's hope for him that he gets a clean run through this time around. So, what is going to happen then between these two guys? As you can see, Joel Evans, was that a little bump there? Did I just see a bump from Joel Evans to Patrick Sokolowski?
Well, he's running very close, isn't he? To the back
Yeah.
of his championship rival, starting right behind him. That is going to be interesting, to say the very least, I think.
Yes, I suspect there is. Well, if we didn't have a rivalry already, we certainly have one now, because that was pretty controversial circumstances in the race, the opening race of the evening. So you see the drivers coming along the endlessly long straight here at Road Atlanta, where the previous owners in the 1980s of the Road Atlanta circuit, Don Whittington and then Randy Lanier, who both had, shall we say, questionable enterprises, used to land their private aircraft on the back straight, so long was it, and there is a rumour that there is actually bundles of money buried around in the red Georgia clay around Road Atlanta. Very much a myth, but entirely possible given Mr. Whittington and Mr. Lanier's business exploits. So here we go then. Thomas Wangen opens up the flat 6 Porsche and he is gone into turn 12 and takes the green flag. Go, go, go here in Georgia. And Thomas...
Dear.
Oh, it's Tolman off. Tolman is off in the BMW, but keeps it out the wall somehow. He's...
Oh dear, no he hasn't.
Oh no. So, and look at Joel Evans getting caught in the back of the pack there. And look, Beer and Sokolowski, they're off. So Joel Evans hasn't had a smooth start at all. So Sokolowski's got the opportunity here to try and get a little bit of a gap on the Welshman.
Yeah, but he's now got Christensen just ahead of him, the teammate of Thomas Mangan's currently already got a 1.3 second lead at the top. He is definitely not going to make it easy for him, is he?
Definitely not, no. But for Sokolowski, he's just got to try and tuck in there, get into the groove, not make too many mistakes. But he's also got Matthias Beer behind in the BMW to worry about, especially when we come onto the back straight here. So watch for that. Of course, here in the first ever holding of the Petit Le Mans in 1998, Yannick Dalmas flipped his Porsche 911 GT1 98 machine in quite dramatic fashion. Thankfully, he was okay, but a scary incident indeed, as we see Jeff Miner winding up his Munich missile. And, oh, but look at that, the Porsche just that little bit better on the brakes there of Chris Rea. And, well, Jeff Miner has to tuck back in again.
This has allowed Wangen to get a 2.5 second lead. Look at him, you can't see where he is. There he is, coming across to start.
Oh,
Lap number 2, Matthias Beer coming down to the pit lane.
this could be a stroke of genius from Matthias Beer, because what he needs is just a bit of clean air, just to click off lap times. We know that BMW is quick, and so he's come in, take his pit stop, and he can run in some nice clean air, because at the moment in this big pack it's pretty busy. But look at Christensen, he's got past Pollard. Sokolowski stayed where he is, and well, Joel Evans is only 2 spots back. So Patrick Sokolowski, he's got to get a move on here, and I'm sure he knows that.
Absolutely. Tolman came into the pits as well. That could be to take his fast repair that drivers do get. One iRacing fast repair that gives them a brand new car. But yeah, he did really well to keep it out of the wall after that. I'm not even sure what happened at the final corner to start the race. He kept it on the grass for most part, and then he just slammed into the side of into the wall. Very unfortunate for him, but he's down in 13th now, unfortunately. But yeah, Matthias Beer not going to get held up in any of this traffic, unlike Sokolowski and Evans. So like you said, that could be a real stroke of genius here.
Could be, yeah, it could be. And Christensen, he's really on a charge as well, not to be outdone by his teammate, who is this is huge. This is huge. Joel Evans is coming to the pits on lap 3, so he obviously felt like he's being held up. Now, I suspect this is the Road Atlanta factor, Dane, because, as we see Sokolowski making a big move, having to take big risk there, going past Pollard. He gets it done, but you don't want to be taking those risks every lap, that's for sure, but he gets his way through. But yes, that we haven't really seen Joel Evans play that strategy card up to now, and I just think it's the Road Atlanta factor. The overtaking is so difficult that you don't want to be stuck in this trend for too long.
Definitely do not. And Beer has come out a good 3-4 seconds ahead of Evans. Evans is now behind him, but those two are both going to have relatively clear air, but this man is not.
So here we are.
Let's see Evans pit stop then.
He's coming in. Has he missed his pit stall? I wonder. Let's see. Joel Evans comes in. Does he go up on the jacks? I wouldn't expect so. He's a couple of laps in. Nope, just a little splash and dash there for Joel Evans. So nice clean pit stop from him. So meanwhile, Patrick Sokolowski is stuck behind the BMW of Jeff Miner, and getting past Jeff is not going to be easy because that BMW's got some grunt. So let's see if Sokolowski is going to have to take that pretty risky move. Oh my goodness me, big oversteer there from Sokolowski. He's going to have to probably try that really risky move into turn 3 again, but there's only so many times you can pull that off cleanly.
He's going to have a look, is he? Yes, he is. Sends it. Gets the door shut on him. Still side by side now through the S's, and I think he's just managed to luck his way out of that one.
Yeah, he was lucky that Jeff Miner gave him the room, and he's lost out now to Pollard because of that. And now Pontus Overström right on the case of Jeff Miner, so not a good sequence for Jeff Miner. So what a shame that nice guys do come last, it would appear, Dane, because Jeff was being very gentlemanly there, not to slam the door in Patrick Sokolowski's face, but and he's unfortunately paid the price for it. What a shame. But well, so now Patrick Sokolowski is up to 4th place and has a bit of clean air, only 1.2 seconds up to Christensen in front. So Sokolowski clearly going for his usual strategy, run the tank dry and go for a little splash at the end, and we'll have to wait until all the way to the end of the race if that's the correct strategy or not.
Yes, we will. Oh, and there goes Pontus Overström up the inside, and he takes the lead in the AM class. But there's been a change for 2nd position, has there? Christensen now up into 2nd place he goes. Now he's got his teammate ahead of him, but it's a good 5 seconds up the road. There is Patrick Sokolowski in 4th, just on the back of this little train of cars here, but all the while losing time. And interestingly, Matthias Beer just set the fastest lap of the race of anyone on that lap. And there it is again. That's from Evans this time.
Yeah, but only 0.2 seconds quicker than Beer. So there's at the moment Evans about just around hovering around 3 seconds behind Matthias Beer. So those two guys are going to be going through the pack together, it would appear. Now, here's a question for you, Dane. Do you think that Matthias Beer might just thwart Joel Evans' strategy slightly, because Joel's wanting some clean track? But if he gets stuck behind Matthias, which he could well do, that could thwart his strategy.
They could thwart Beer as well if Evans catches up to them. They don't really want to be running too close to each other and battling. It's going to spoil both of their parties. But it looks like from the last couple of laps, Matthias Beer lapped a good second quicker than Patrick Sokolowski, and running side by side through the final corner isn't going to help him at all. Up into 3rd he goes then. That was a 26.7, so it's still a pretty quick lap for him as Velikov heads down into the pit lane.
Yeah, not a good day from Mihail Velikov. He'll just be coming in to take his pit stop right now, but he has not been able to make an impression on the top 10 in that Nayuka factory Porsche. So not good news with Pontus Overström again in the lead of the AM class. But you'll have to fend off Jeff Miner, and Joel Evans puts in a really quick time there, 1:26.2. So This is going to be fascinating to see just how just how much Evans and Beer will be able to make up. But Thomas Wangen, you know, he's had clean air all the way through. Don't forget, he led from the start, and he's just clicking off those quick laps as well. So Thomas Wangen, if he can keep mistake free, he'll be in a good spot.
Absolutely. The gap between Sokolovsky and Beer then is around about 22 seconds. Beer and Evans' pit lane time, so that's the time from pit entry to pit exit, was 35 or 36 seconds. So that's a good 15-second delta they currently have on top of Sokolovsky. But they do have to then take into account, obviously, the time it takes to go around the normal route. But I don't think that's a good 15 seconds. I think they might just be net ahead at this point in time.
Yeah, that is an interesting one, and we will only know how it will play out later on in the race. Not even 10 minutes in, but lots going on as, whoa, Pollard goes straight past Rear in a big hurry. So maybe Chris Rear making a bit of a mistake there coming out of turn 3, and Pontus Overström right on top of him. I tell you what, this is a good day at the office for Pontus Overström. Velikov back in 12th. Okay, he's pitted, but very much being the M-Class driver of the day as the Swede in the BMW M4. Back down to second gear, and then just winds up that twin turbocharged motor. It's got quite an aggressive power delivery, this BMW, certainly in street form. So that does wear the tyres out a little bit more, but probably not a concern even in this 40-minute race.
Yeah, and look, he's closing up in this BMW. He definitely has got the speed advantage. He sent it up the inside. Not going to work this time. He might have a look at maybe a bit of a cutback here. Has the acceleration down the hill, but it's just not close enough to make him move into the final corner. And it looks like Rear's got a pretty good exit there. He's not going to be able to make a move into turn 1 either, so he's going to have to stay in the 6th position for now.
Yeah, Chris Rear defends very furiously there from Pontus Overström. Oh, and who have we got off? That's Greg Hubler. Oh, I got a panic there when I saw the green Porsche. Of course, that's teammate of Joel Evans, but just with the red stripes rather than the yellow stripes on there. So Greg Hubler going quite slowly there, just trying to get himself back into the groove once more. So still though, Matthias Beer, that is Elvin, I keep saying Elvin Evans, that's the World Rally Championship leader at the moment. Joel Evans is leading is a couple of seconds behind Matthias Beer, and he's not really closed that gap down, so Beer's in with a shot at this victory too.
Yeah, definitely, but they still have to try and catch up the gap to Thomas Wangen, who is in clear air at this point, remember. So it is it's going to be a tricky one for them to try and get the win, but to try and get ahead of Sokolovsky is going to be a different matter because they have Wangen's teammate ahead of them. That is Christensen in the Team Vikings Porsche, and Sokolovsky has not found it easy to get past him at all so far. He is definitely struggling a bit.
Yeah, Sokolowski, this is oh, dearie me, that was a big moment there. You can hear the traction control just cutting in slightly. Sokolowski getting very loose there indeed, but this is not what he needs to be stuck behind Roger Christensen. And Christensen takes up quite a lot of grass there on the inside of the curb, and this is not what Sokolowski needs at all. But he's kind of, as we say, he's made his bed and now he has to lie in it. This is the strategy he has chosen, and he's got to stick to it now.
Absolutely, there's no point backing out now. He takes a very different line through turn 7 than almost every other driver. I've noticed that in the sprint race especially. It seems to have helped him out a little bit in the sprint race, but it doesn't seem to help him out much now, as Matthias Beers got held up a little bit by Evans' teammate Hubler. I've just seen he's finally got past now. But that's not going to help Beer out too much. Sokolowski not close enough to make a move this time by either.
Yeah, Sokolowski was very, very close to the back bumper, and look at this. Evans right behind his teammate Hubler. He'll be on the radio to his teammates saying, if you could kindly move out the way, please, that would be nice, and he does. So Evans goes by him. Now, has that made much of an impact? I think that has closed up the gap. It has, yes. In fact, by well over a second, in fact, nearly 2 seconds, Joel Evans is taken out of Matthias Beer there as a result of Hubler sort of impeding Matthias Beer's progress that little bit. So, game on here between Beer and Evans as Hubler goes into the pit lane.
Yeah, absolutely. The gap is now closing between Evans and Beer. And the gap has closed considerably between Sokolowski and Christiansen. Sokolowski now getting a little bit desperate. He went for a bit of a lunge into turn 6. And that might cause him to lose quite a bit more time than he otherwise would. He has got to be very careful here because of the risk of the overcut, or the undercut even, from Beer and Evans.
Yeah, Sokolowski needs to be going quicker than this. And yeah, look at that. Look, there's the comparison between Sokolowski's lap time and Evans pulling big chunks of time. So Sokolowski definitely getting held up here by Roger Christensen. And he's now having a look, kind of will he have a look down the inside here at turn 12. He's got the line. Will he be able to hold it? Christensen toughs it out around the outside and goes onto the grass. Barges the side of Sokolowski coming back onto the track. Oh my word, that's not good news for Patrick Sokolowski, and that's exactly why Joel Evans and Matthias Beer decided to pit early to get that clean track to avoid incidents like that, but there's damage down the side of Patrick Sokolowski's Porsche.
Yeah, that is definitely not good for him. He's probably going to have some damage on the side of his car. Yes, he does. You can just about see it as he comes past us, and that's going to slow down his straight line speed. And he's also just lost around about a second to Beer and Evans now, which is, again, not what he needs.
No. Now, I would think now, of course, all the drivers do have an iRacing fast repair. So it could be that Sokolowski now decides to come in and take that fast repair during his pit stop, and it's instant, doesn't cost him any more time. And I think if he wants a chance of winning this race, he's got to make sure that he's got a car that's at 100%, and that Porsche right now doesn't look like it is.
No, it doesn't. I'm very surprised he hasn't gone into the pits now. He's really sticking with this strategy. I would have definitely come in for that fast repair now. He's definitely not going to be gaining time on Beer and Evans by staying out. But then again, as our producer Sam Kuma just pointed out to me, it's the first time he's been in clear air. So maybe he just wants to set a couple of laps in clear air and see how bad the damage is affecting his pace.
That's a good point. Yeah, very good point indeed. We'll be able to get a bit more of a true representation of Sokolowski's pace, or his potential pace right now, and see how that compares to his rivals Beer and Evans. And for them, Matthias Beer has a clear 12 seconds in front of him. So there is loads of clean air to play with there for Beer and for Evans. But don't forget, though, of course, is that Joel Evans, he needs to pass Matthias Beer if he wants to win this race. And at the moment, he doesn't look to be making an impression on him.
No, he doesn't. And that's also not very good for him. Although coming out ahead of Sokolowski would do wonders for his championship, it still wouldn't be the ideal result for him. He wants to be up there winning as much as possible. Remember, they are still around about 27 seconds down on our race leader, Thomas Langen. So these two might not necessarily be going for the win at this point. It very much depends on how quickly they can catch Thomas Langen up in the Team Vikings car in first place. But yeah, Sokolowski still staying out 6 seconds behind the leader, and it doesn't look like he's catching him too quickly.
No, definitely not. I mean, we're not expecting. I mean, as the Hubler's off again, we're not expecting really much of an issue on fuel. So Wangen and Sokolowski kind of have the option of when they want to come in. But for Wangen right now, you've got to think he is going to drive the wheels off that car until it doesn't have another drop of fuel in the tank, because he is just enjoying blissful solitude around the swoops and swales of Road Atlanta right now.
Definitely, you can see he's doing a great job. As I say that Sokolowski's not catching too much, he's gained half a second on him. On the leader, Thomas Wangen, as he goes into the pits then.
This is interesting. This is not even at half race distance right now. So, Thomas Wangen comes into pit lane. I wonder, Dane. I mean, I would suspect that he's got way more fuel than he could have gone further if he wanted to.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not too sure, to be honest, what he is thinking is pitting this sort of early in the race in the long stint. But let's see where Matthias Beer and Joe Evans come out then.
There they are. Oh, this is going to be very close, but I think Wangen is just about going to get out. He does. Yes, so game on then. Thomas Wangen's taking his pit stop, and he's out in front of Matthias Beer. So maybe he's running some SDK gaming software, Dane, and he's spotted a little gap in the track, and he thought, right, now I'm going to dive in and I'm going to come back out in some clean air as well.
Well, what that means is if they've come out, what is that, 2 seconds? If he's come out just 2 seconds ahead of Beer and Evans, and Sokolowski was 5 seconds behind, to me, that sounds like Sokolowski has lost out massively, and Beer and Evans are going to overtake him through the pit stops.
Possibly, yes.
Look how close Evans is now.
Yeah, possibly. The only thing is that now Sokolowski, if we look at our track map, Sokolowski has plenty of clean air right now. And if he can lay down some quick laps on a low fuel load, of course, these cars with the fuel load down, that's going to make a difference to his lap time. So, but he's, well, you wouldn't think so. 127.1 last time around. He really wants to be in the 26s to be making an impression. So let's see as we get Matthias Beer, Joel Evans, and Wangen's won't be an identified time or an indicative time, I should say. So what does Matthias Beer do? Right, so they're into the 27s as well, so they're lapping about at the same speed. So this is going to be fascinating to see. The only thing is, though, Dane, is that if Sokolowski goes in much later in the race, he won't need to spend all that long in the lane to fuel up.
Well, that is potentially going to be the case, although I think that all the drivers are going to have to add the same amount of fuel to get to the end, regardless of when they pit. But Evans is definitely being held up a little bit by Matthias Beer here. And what I think might be the case is that if Evans gets past Beer, yes, he'll be faster throughout the tight and twisty bits, but Beer might just end up going straight past him again on the straights, like we've seen a couple times in the sprint race from other drivers.
Well, let's have a look here then. Let's see if Joel Evans can tuck onto the back of Matthias Beer's BMW. It would appear not. Looking at the relative timing, Evans sort of just hovering around sort of... Oh, look who's in pit lane. Patrick Sokolowski. So, this is where we're going to see where this pans out. We expect him to not get out in front of Beer or Evans. So, we look at the SDK track map on the top right-hand side of the screen. We're expecting them. They're going past. There they go. They're going along pit lane. They're going to jump Sokolowski. You're right, Dane. There's Sokolowski just coming out of pit lane right now. You'll certainly see Matthias Beer's car going by.
Yeah, you can't miss that car. He's come out not as far behind as I expected, but he is definitely behind, and we've just passed halfway race distance. He has got just over 17 minutes to try and catch up that gap. This is the battle for the overall lead of the race then. Wangen currently leading, Beer in second, with Evans just behind, and then Sokolowski currently in provisional 4th position just behind. This is going to be a really interesting battle to the end of the race then.
It certainly is, yeah. Four-way battle for sure. And well, for Matthias Beer, he's just got to make sure that he can get out of turn 7 clean, because then he can wind up the BMW and protect his position. The only thing that might negate that is if Joel Evans can go really late on the brakes, and we know that Porsche is good on the brakes. So let's see, will he make the move? He's too far back. So if Matthias Beer is able to just park his BMW in the places he needs to, that's going to hold up Joel Evans. And who's that going to benefit? Patrick Sokolowski behind.
You're absolutely right. These two fighting will help the man just behind, although he has actually dropped back a little bit. The gap is approximately 3 seconds between those two drivers of Evans and Sokolowski. But Wangen extending his lead over Beard just a little bit. Beard is doing an absolutely magnificent job in his BMW, isn't it?
He is. He's doing a great job. It's a bit more of a cumbersome car to hustle through this section here, not quite as poised as the little Porsche Cayman is. And oh, here, look at this. There you go. There's a great example of it. The Porsche Cayman getting a good drive out of turn 5 down towards turn 6. Will Evans have a look? He's thinking about it. He knows he's got to try and upset Beer's rhythm somehow. And will he have a look into turn 7? No, but he's right on the back bumper of Matthias Beer. But here you go. Opens up the BMW, and there you go. That must be so demoralizing for Joel Evans, just seeing that groovy car just eking away from him all the time.
Yeah, it's an awful sight. You do so well, get the best exit possible, and then you just pull away from in front of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh, as he slams almost into the back of Matthias Beer, they're very deep on the brakes. We actually took a bit of a detour inside the rear of Matthias Beer's BMW, but he's lost a lot of time to Sokolowski behind now. Gap was 3 seconds, it's now less than 2.
Yeah, we were in the rear of Matthias Beer there, heading into turn 10, and that was very close to contact and causing a bit of an incident. This surely is going to give Patrick Sokolowski the impetus to really push on. He's taking his fast repair. That car's back to 100%, so he can really push on here, and he'll be seeing this in front of him. He's more than close enough to see that Joel Evans is getting stuck behind Matthias Beer. So he's just got to really try and push on and get onto the back of this train. But all the while, Thomas Wangen, well, he's 2 seconds up the road, and he's taking his pit stop. So the pole sitter, Wangen, he's still the man who's in control of this race. But that could change if Evans is able to get past Matthias Beer.
He's got a bit of a better exit this time, and Evans is catching a little bit to Matthias Beer. I don't think he's going to be close enough in the braking zone to make a lunge. He's going to have a little bit of a look though. Oh, and Beer goes deep. That's going to allow Evans to maybe get a bit of a cutback going. Yes, it does. He's pulled alongside, and that is going to be Evans up into 6th position, still side by side, and he manages to make the move stick. Sokolowski now just 1.5 seconds behind. Very poor exit from Evans though. Beer's going to have a look around the outside into turn number 1.
Around the outside, turn number 1, a very, very risky move. Oh, Evans just spun! Evans just beat him! Oh my word, that's huge for the championship. Evans spins on his own accord, and Matthias Beer clips him on the way through. Oh my word, Dane Baird, that is huge for the championship.
Absolutely. Just loses the rear mid-corner. It's so easy to do. It's such a difficult corner. Gets up on the curb. That's what it was. Hits the side of Matthias Beer. Almost gets collected by Sokolowski. That would have been a disaster if that were to happen. But yeah, that stuck him down in 6th. He hasn't lost any extra positions other than Sokolowski. But with the damage to Matthias Beer's car, he's not going to have the straight line speed he otherwise would. And Sokolowski is going to be able to catch him, I would say with ease, but it won't really be that easy for him. It's going to be pretty difficult, but he does have 12 minutes left. Meanwhile, Thomas Wangen, 3.5 seconds up the road. He's looking good for a victory here.
Yeah, that's a critical incident as far as Thomas Wangen's concerned. Doesn't appear that Matthias Beer is struggling too much on the straight. Definitely a percent or two, but like you said, it's still not going to be easy for Patrick Sokolowski to get by. But for Sokolowski, well, maybe he doesn't necessarily need to he doesn't necessarily need to push as hard. Having seen Joel Evans spin onto the grass, he's probably thinking, right, let's just bag the points and head to the next round. So this is going to be fascinating, the dynamic of how Patrick Sokolowski handles the remaining 11 minutes or so of this race.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to have to see how Patrick tries to get past Beer. He hasn't brought up that gap too much through the tight and twisty bits. And he's definitely not going to be catching up too much in the straight bits. So it's definitely going to be interesting. You can just see Wangen up ahead down the road over the crest now. He disappears as we ride on board Patrick Sokolowski in the 190 Carbon Esports Porsche 718 Cayman.
Yeah, he's not. Beer's just still got the grunt, hasn't he, on the straight, but Sokolowski, whoa, very late on the brakes there. You know that Sokolowski's going to have a go. If there's even a slight opportunity, he'll go for it. Now, meanwhile, look at Joel Evans. He is, I think he is falling back into the clutches of Pollard, but tell you what, Evans' Porsche looks surprisingly good considering he's been clipped by another car.
Yeah, it does, and that's pretty interesting in itself. He does have Pollard just a little ways behind him, but Evans most likely the quickest driver out of those two, considering he is sitting in second in the championship standings. But yeah, that's really unfortunate for him to have made that mistake. It was really an unforced error. He just went a bit too far to the inside. Oh, look at this, Sokolowski, a tenth, less than a tenth, trying to go around the outside of Matthias Beer. He doesn't quite have the move done. He still has the outside line for turn 7. He's not going to have too much room. A little bit of contact between the two.
Side by side then between Beer and Sokolowski's got him round the outside at turn 7. I don't think I've ever seen that move be attempted before, but Beer is now in the draft in the BMW. So is he going to pulls out of the draft? He's on the inside line. To be later than Patrick Sokolowski on the brakes is going to be a big ask here, but he goes for it. He lunges the big BMW up the inside, and Beer has got it. Brilliant move from the German, and he clinches back 4th position. Brilliant stuff.
Yeah, that was a great move. Offerstrom into the pits then. These two will overtake him as he trundles down the pit lane. There he is. We just flashed past the screen. Just pulling into his pit box now. But Beer will inherit 3rd position. The only driver left to pit in the race is Roger Christensen. There he is, leading over his teammate Wangen, but he is definitely going to be dropping down probably to potentially 5th position, or 4th position I should say, just ahead of Evans after that incident involving the Welshman. So it's going to be a decent result for him as well. Meanwhile, Beer still ahead of Sokolowski.
Yeah, Beer,
so close.
Little love tap there from, big oversteer there as Beer asked for the power from the big BMW. It just wagged its tail, shook its head slightly, and here's Sokolowski right in the draft of the big BMW, and he's just eking millimetre after millimetre, and I think he's going to have a look on the brakes here. Beer goes to the defensive line, he'll hold that. Tell you what, Matthias Beer is good on the brakes there, going into 10A and 10B, parks the BMW on the apex and defends his position. Under the Suzuki bridge they go, and well, just about 7.5 minutes to go in this race, and Matthias Beer driving like a man possessed.
Yes, he is, as there goes Christensen into the pits. Wangen inherits the race lead. They've got some lap traffic up ahead. Oh, and that's Sokolowski up the inside. Has he overshot the corner? No, he hasn't. He's managed to get that slowed down. That was a huge lunge from Patrick. He's up into second position there. We've seen him do that a couple times in this race. Flashing the headlights at Hubler. He wants him out of the way.
Yeah, that Sokolowski's you pulled that move off safely a couple of times now. Very impressive indeed. It's pretty much it's a blind corner and it's blind faith sticking it up the inside there. And Matthias Beer gave him the room, but because Matthias Beer has his secret weapon here, now is that Wangen or Christensen? It's Christensen being turned around by Greg Hubler, the back marker there. What on earth has gone on there? And look, here comes Evans. Evans is going to inherit that position.
It looks like he's got the speed advantage to do so over Christensen. Christensen with a lot of damage to the front right quarter panel. Actually, no, it doesn't. Looks like Evans is just going to have to hold his position in 5th, but that's brought Christensen into his grasp. And Sokolowski still ahead of Beer as they come to start lap number 24. Oh, who's that? Oh, it's Hubler again.
Hubler just ran straight on there. I wonder what happened when he tangled with Christensen. I'm not sure, but well, this could be huge for Evans for his championship. He can get past Christensen, which I think he'll be able to do, both on pure pace, but also with Christensen with the damage as well. Really, really important. And all the while, well, now Patrick Sokolowski has got past Matthias Beer and he appears to be making that move stick, because now he can open up the Porsche in the areas where it's good, which is through the corners, which he hasn't been able to do with the big BMW parked on the apex. But let's see, he's just been able to put that little bit of distance between him and Matthias Beer, and this could be critical for him to clinch second position.
Definitely Beer a little bit squirrely on the exit of the corner there. Have to watch out when he's putting the power down. Obviously the tyres aren't going to be as helpful as they could be. But look at the time he's gaining down the straight, even without much draft. As you can see the tyre marks on the gravel. Here at turn 10A from where Hubler just gone off.
Indeed, and well, Sokolowski's doing what he needs to do right now. Evans back in 5th spot, not quite being able to make the impression on Christensen yet. Sokolowski in 2nd, so there's going to be not an awful lot of change in the championship points, because Evans came in with a 2-point advantage over Sokolowski, and of course edged out Sokolowski in the sprint race. But it's been the roles have been reversed here in the feature race. And it's going to roll on to the next round in.
Yep. This is going to be a championship fight to the end. I believe the final round is going to be held at Kota, which is very...
Your favourite?
It's not a very good match for these cars. A couple of the drivers have been complaining about it, actually, in the ARL Discord. But a couple of drivers signing on to a petition to change the round from Kota to another circuit, which is pretty funny, to be honest. But Thomas Wangen, he's done a fantastic job starting on pole position, and he's just cruising away.
Well, I tell you what, of course, the Circuit of the Americas, another circuit where you have a kind of tale of two halves. You have some parts where you really need a car which changes direction very well, that has good aero grip, and Wangen getting it really up onto the curb there, a bit of oversteer, very nice, very stylish. And yes, but of course at Kota you have not one but 2 massive straights, and that's obviously going to help the BMW guys. But of course, for our championship battle, Dane, you know, it's Evans versus Sokolowski. They're both in a Porsche. They're both running the identical Apex Racing Academy setup designed by Johan Harth, a guy who knows a thing or two about racing Porsches in iRacing. And well, it's going to be a straight fight as long as it's a tarmac and it's cars with engines. It's going to be a straight fight. So whether it's Circuit of the Americas or anything else, it's going to be close.
Absolutely. There is Christensen with Evans just behind him at that stage. But looks like it's going to be more or less 2 laps to go when Wangen crosses the line next time by. Sokolowski has been catching him by around about 2/10 per lap. Recent times, there's Greg Hubler off again. That time it's in the S's, I think. But there is Sokolowski, around about 4 seconds behind Wangen. There is Mr. German Austin Powers.
A very groovy day, hasn't he? He'll be very happy indeed. At the wheel of that BMW art car, or the Austin Powers Mobile, as we call it. We can't give the official Austin Powers vehicle name, of course, because this is a pre-Watershed broadcast. Yes, as you see. Now, this is interesting, Dane. Roger Christensen, despite that damage, has been able to keep Joel Evans behind him, and this could be pivotal for the championship, whether Evans is able to get by or not.
Yeah, Evans is going to give it his all, I think. Trying to gain as many points as possible in this round that hasn't gone his way in this feature race. But he's just about a second behind Christensen at this point. Well, just about 7/10 now is the gap. And he's going to have 2 opportunities down this long back straight. Here is the first one coming up. This is going to be trying to set himself up for the next lap, trying to close down the gap a little bit. Currently 6/10 between the two.
Yeah, there's doesn't appear to be much hampering Roger Christensen's car after that little bit of damage. He's still got good pace on the straight. Of course, Joel Evans is carrying a bit of damage as well. So these are the walking wounded Porsches battling it out to the end of this race. And I think we will be... Now, where is Wangen? Has he taken the white flag? I presume he has. Yes, he will have. So this is white flag. Last lap then for Thomas Wangen. And it's been, well, starting from pole, we knew he was the favourite with in this feature race with most of his competitors much further down the grid. And he's really executed well, put that mistake in the sprint race behind him and put together a really nice drive.
I thought he might have had a chance last week at Daytona. He finally got the opportunity that he is pretty much rightly deserved after some fantastic performances in recent weeks. And he has taken that opportunity with both hands as he comes down the back straight now for the final time. Interestingly, he had the fastest pit stop of anyone in the race, so calculating the fuel to the milliliter.
He must be using some SDK gaming software, I'm sure. As he comes around turn 10A and B for the final time then, Thomas Wangen is going to be your winner of the feature race here at Road Atlanta for the Apex Racing Academy VRS GT4 Super Series. Brilliant drive from the Team Vikings Porsche man, and leads Patrick Sokolowski home in second place. A critical result for the Polish driver, and Matthias Beer takes the final spot on the podium in third place. Christensen fourth, and he did keep Evans behind him by a whisker. That could come back to haunt the young Welshman.
0.07 of a second was the gap between those two drivers. Someone's been turned around coming around the final corner there. I believe that it is Pollard in sixth position. He hasn't been turned around, he's just done that all on his own. The last few drivers coming now to cross the finish line. That is Newell and Tolman. And then we've got Hubler, who is going to come doing a bit of rallycross. You'd love to see it. He's going to finish backwards. Hits the wall. No, he's not. He's got inches to the line. There he goes. Finally gets it done in a very, very sad-looking Porsche 718 Cayman.
It is. That car has had a hard life. Oh, brilliant stuff. Very groovy donuts there from Matthias Beer in the BMW. Very nice indeed. Lighting up those Michelin tyres. That's what we like to see. And Pontus Overström, a double AM class win for him. And with Mihail Velikov back in, well, actually Mihail Velikov 9th overall, but second in AM class. That was a good recovery there from Mihail. So this is how they finished then. Thomas Wangen wins by 2.3 seconds from Patrick Sokolowski. Matthias Beer celebrating there with some wonderful donuts in third place in the leading BMW. Roger Christensen was fourth for Team Vikings, holding off Joel Evans by a critical 700ths of a second. Mike Pollard was in sixth, with Pontus Overström, your AM class winner, in seventh spot. Chris Rear finished in eighth, followed by Mihail Velikov, Jeff Miner, Marco Tillman, Will Newell, Greg Hubler, and Harry Brooks did not take the start. So what a day we've had at Road Atlanta, and straight away we have our winner, Thomas Wangen, who is here to have a chat and tell us about his win. Thomas Wangen, welcome to the Apex Racing TV commentary booth. A great win for you there. Tell us all about it.
Hello, Peter. No, that was awesome. Finally.
Yeah, it feels like a long time coming. When you're running well in the sprint race and made a little mistake, what was going through your mind at that point to get yourself back ready for the feature?
In race one, we started in quali. I knew I had a pace like Patrick and Joe. So in the sprint race, I tried to follow Patrick, but I lost my rear on the SS before T5, and I just thinking I talked a little bit with Roger, and we managed to think that we will start in pole in the future, so we dropped back to 10 with purpose. So, yep.
Very, very wise indeed, Mr. Wangen. And of course, in the feature race, you decided to pit about halfway through. We saw a lot of different strategies used by the top drivers. What was your thinking with your strategy?
When we got the gap in the start, I saw Joe and Matthias went into pit lane, so I just tried to cut them off when I pitted. So I think I managed to get out 2 seconds in front of them. So Patrick pitted 2 laps later, and yeah, we succeeded with our strategy today.
We certainly did. Now, before we let you go to go and enjoy your victory here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 Super Series, who would you like to shout out to here on the iRacing Esports Network?
I want to shout out to my team, Team Vikings, to Roger, to everyone who's competing in GT4 Apex League. It's awesome today. And to you guys as well. Great show.
Thank you very much. That's very kind indeed. Thomas, well done, and we'll see you next time out. So that was Thomas Wangen, our race winner, and our runner-up in the feature race, Patrick Sokolowski, is with Dane Baird.
Well, let's get him in then for a chat. Patrick, welcome. And it was a pretty interesting sprint race for yourself. You had a good old battle with Joel Evans, but it ended in a bit of controversy.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just going to the outside on the entry on the track to the last chicane, and yeah, he was basically in my blind spot because I'm racing on a single monitor, and also I didn't saw him in my rearview mirror, and yeah, I thought he will go to complete the line to have the best entry possible. So I moved to the right side of the track too, but Joel just stopped in the middle, and yeah, I didn't saw him there, and yeah, he just slightly bumped me on the rear, and I just lost it on that slight downward going track there. Yeah, and the rest, he was basically after that. I had too much damage to keep him behind me on the straights, and yeah, battle was intense. He slightly dive bumped me to the last chicane on the next lap, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah, well, it was a great battle for us to watch, at least up in the commentary box. And then you had the task of overtaking the 7 cars in front of you at the start of the feature race. That must have been a little bit stressful, especially with the your two main rivals for the race pitting early, and they were in clear air.
Yeah, at the beginning I was trying to look at what Joe will do. Yeah, and probably after lap 2 I just lost track of him. So I knew that he probably pitted already, so I was just scrolling my relative there to see what the gap was, because I had to keep 26, 28 seconds ahead of him to be still ahead of him after pit stop. So yeah, not quite what I achieved there before my pit stop, but yeah. Anyway, he spun when he was fighting with Matthias, so it just make my job slightly easier.
You still had to get past Matthias though, and you had a rival battle with him side by side down the back straight on multiple occasions.
Yeah, that was a good one. Actually, I think we were too wide on the entry to the corner that was leading to the back straight, and yeah, I was ahead of him for a moment there. But yeah, BMW is just too quick on the straights in comparison with Pork there. But somehow I managed to overtake him at the entry to turn 2, and yeah, I managed to keep him behind me from that point onwards.
Oh, this must have done pretty well for your championship battle that you've been having with Joel. Obviously, you didn't have the sprint race that you would have wanted, but in the feature, you gained you were quite a few positions ahead of him at the end.
Yeah, that's good for me, but we still need to wait and see what stewards will decide on that sprint race contact.
Absolutely. Next week, we head to the final round at Kota. That's what do you think about that circuit?
Quite fun for Formula 1 for sure. Yeah, I didn't do a single lap yet there in GT4, so yeah, that would be quite an adventure for the next week.
Well, Patrick, thank you for joining us here on Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Esports Network. Before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a shout out
to? Yeah, to my team. Thanks for support, and yeah, see you on the last round, basically. Bye.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Patrick, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah, Patrick Sokolowski absolutely overjoyed with his second position there in the feature race. But let's get a chat to another of the podium finishers, Matthias Beer. Matthias Beer, the German Austin Powers, welcome to the Apex Racing commentary booth.
Hi, Peter. Nice.
How are you today, sir?
Again. Oh, I'm very good. I'm very good. P2 in Heat 1 and feature P3 could be much better. It was very, very, very funny to drive with Wangen. Was a nice battle in the first race. No, sorry, in second race only because we had a distance battle. Yeah, I always was looking at the timing and thought, maybe a P1, maybe not. But then he pitted very, very quickly. I think 2 seconds faster than everyone else. At least he said to me right when we was chatting right now. But yeah, full happy.
Oh, that's good. And that BMW, it's got some grunt on the straight. And of course, here at Atlanta, you can really use that. Did you finally feel like you could really compete on a level playing field with the Porsches? Because most of the other circuits we've been to so far, they've really preferred that car. Did you feel you could really compete today in the BMW?
Today, yeah, really. When I was seeing the times in practice, I thought, oh, that is close. That's not happened before in this season. And only Patrick was, I think, half a second faster than everyone else. He was driving his own planet. But yeah, in the races, it was a bit of fight to get the Porsches in the S's, or to hold them back on the S's to not make a mistake. And on the long straight, they clearly had no chance. Yeah, even in slipstream, I think Patrick or Joel didn't even gain any time. At least if I did not make a mistake on the corner exit to the main straight. And then, yeah, I think both cars this time were, I think, pretty equal.
It certainly looked like it on the broadcast, and well done on a fantastic double podium today, Matthias. Now, before we let you go, who would you like to shout out to on the iRacing Esports Network?
First of all, shout out to my family who were watching. They enjoyed the show a lot. And I want to shout out to all you guys who do the broadcast. You make a amazing job there. And it is always very funny to look at them at the broadcasts, and very entertaining. Thank you so much for that.
Oh, well, it is absolutely our pleasure. And thank you for designing a paint scheme that's so easy to spot. We always know where the German Austin Powers is on track. So I hope you've got one for all your other racing cars for any other races you're entering. But Matthias, thank you so much. And we'll see you for the final round next time out.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. So that is all we've got time for tonight on the iRacing Esports Network and Apex Racing TV. It's been an absolute pleasure to bring you two fantastic races here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. If you want to find out more about the Apex Racing Academy, you can via www.apexracingac.com, and you can find out all about how our coaches, our World Championship level coaches, can help you go faster in iRacing. If you want to come and race with us here in the Apex Racing League, please do look us up as well, apexracingleague.com, and we have a number of different series to enter. GT4, we have GTE, touring cars, and even Porsche Cup as well. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the final round next time out here in the Apex Racing Academy GT4 VRS Super Series.
Virtual Racing School was developed to provide support to the next generation of sim racers. No matter if you're a rookie or veteran or what car or track you'll be racing, our goal is to provide training every step of the way. We found that iRacing can be quite difficult without proper training. There needed to be a way to prepare for on-track racing. With VRS, you can literally learn from the best sim racers in the world, including 4-time NASCAR iRacing World Champion Ray Alfala.
And Ray Alfala is a 4-time champion of the NASCAR Vrs iRacing Series.
3-time iRacing Grand Prix World Champion Martin Kroenke.
Martin Kroenke becomes a 3-time world champion.
Rallycross World Champion Mitchell de Jong.
Mitchell de Jong is now champion for the iRacing Rallycross World Championship Series.
And many other top sim racers. Data packs include everything you need to start learning. Our World Championship coaches create the data packs by setting a hot lap or a series of fast laps for you to compare, analyze, and replicate. Data packs also include a tutorial where the coach points out techniques they use to hit the fast lap. This gives you access to the latest driving techniques and setups before you even hit the track. Sign up for a free account and download the Vrs Telemetry Logger. With this application running seamlessly in the background, your laps automatically start syncing to the VRS website. From there, you can analyze and compare 2 laps of your choice, whether it's your data, the coaches, or your teammates. VRS will automatically target improvement opportunities so you can get up to speed even faster. VRS also makes it easy for you to request and schedule one-on-one or group coaching sessions. These sessions can range from 30 to 90 minutes, and you can select the car, track and setup combination of your choice. Visit virtualracingschool.com today to sign up and get started.